Bitcoin looks ready for the $70,000, but first there's something that needs to happen first. In this video I'm going to tell you exactly what Bitcoin needs to do first before we can reach this new exponential leg to the top side. I will have a look on different time frames with you, and I will update you about what's going to happen for Bitcoin in this week. I will also have a look at the two altcoins Dogecoin and FetchAI. There are a lot of interesting topics I want to talk about with you, so watch this video all the way to the end, like the video, and let's dive right into the charts. So last week on Friday we saw a beautiful breakout of this 4-hour formation, and we were in this formation since the end of July. We saw a lot of topside resistance coming into the market, and also on the lower side we saw a lot of support. So this price was getting squeezed into this apex, and finally we saw a beautiful move to the top side, and that is very bullish to see. We are now back at the $64,000, and we can see a little bit of sideways consolidation, but it is the price action of the weekend. And if we zoom in on the 50-minute time frame, we can see Bitcoin opened the CME gap at the $63,619. So like I expected in my video of Saturday, Bitcoin was trading around this level, and we're seeing not too much volatility coming into the market. And currently in the making of this video, we are seeing a beautiful retest of the CME gap, and the CME gap is now officially closed again. Bitcoin can trade freely during the week, and it's beautiful to see, because we don't want to leave any CME gaps open, because a lot of people are trading around these gaps. So this is beautiful to see. So let's get back to this 4-hour chart I was talking about, and as I was saying, we saw a lot of resistance here coming into the market. We broke it on Friday to the top side beautifully, and that's exactly what we wanted to see. And now we can maybe expect a retest of this previous resistance to turn it into support, and this could be a very strong retest. So let's see if Bitcoin comes back to this resistance level, turn it into support, and that will mean that Bitcoin will come back to the $61,500. And that's nothing to panic about if we're going back to these prices, because if we're going to see a bounce from this level, then it means that this level is going to be very strong, and from there we can aim for higher targets, because we are still in this huge uptrend. If we're going to see a retest of this previous resistance to turn it into support, you could also enter the market in a long or maybe in a spot buy order, because this trade is less risky, because this horizontal level is acting very strong. So if this support is holding strong, we can aim for higher targets from here. And also in the last 2 weeks we saw very bullish price action for the Bitcoin ETFs. We saw a lot of inflows again, and we are seeing green numbers. And let's see if this week we can reach the $18 billion target for the Bitcoin ETFs in total. And that would of course be very bullish for the Bitcoin ETFs. And also the Fear and Greed Index is back at levels of greed. Of course, the 54 yesterday was in stages of neutral, so we are actually at stages of neutral, and we are in the middle of this Fear and Greed Index. So if we're going to see more spikes to the top side, then of course we will come back in the stages of greed and maybe extreme greed, and that's exactly what we wanted to see. So last week we were still in fear, and if you bought at fear, it's always a good thing to do, and then you will always sell a little bit of your portion into the greed, because that is how you make money. And if we zoom out on a daily time frame, we can see this huge horizontal level was coming into play as a resistance and support, and this was around the $61,000 for Bitcoin. And we can see a lot of resistance was coming into the market, but on Friday we saw a beautiful bounce to the top side, and we broke this resistance bullish. And let's see if we can see a retest of the previous resistance to turn it into support. From there we can create a higher low, and from this higher low structure we can create more topside momentum. So eventually we want to come back to this $70,000 region, of course, and that will be very bullish if we can come back to this region, and from there we can potentially create more bullish price action and even reach for new all-time highs. But first I want to see a retest of this previous resistance to turn it into support. From here I will enter the market in a long, and from there I want to see more topside for Bitcoin. So if we want to see Bitcoin at the $70,000, I think first we need to see a retest of this previous resistance at the $61,000. And if we zoom out on the weekly time frame, we can still see that Bitcoin is in this huge bull flag formation. After this big run up, we saw a lot of consolidation to the side, and Bitcoin is already inside of this bull flag formation since the beginning of March. So that's almost for 6 months now, because it's the end of August. So let's see if finally this bull flag formation can break bullish. And if we see on the downside a lot of support coming into the market, on the top side we see a lot of resistance coming into the market, and we bounce from this support beautifully. So let's see if we can revisit this topside resistance, and if we come back to this resistance, that means that Bitcoin will come back to the $67,000. And eventually I think that Bitcoin will break bullish out of this bull flag formation and create this next exponential leg to the top side. And this bull flag formation has a breakout target of $108,000. So from here that's almost a 100% increase. And if we zoom further back out on the monthly time frame, we can see this previous all-time highs was acting as resistance, and we saw this beautiful resistance coming into play. We are now retesting this resistance as support, and it's looking very strong. And this monthly candle of August was looking very bearish first, but now we are seeing a huge hammer candle, and that is a bullish candle. And we can also see this consolidation happening for the Bitcoin monthly chart, and eventually I think this run up to the top side will eventually continue, and we will create a new exponential leg up. But for now we can see this previous resistance is coming into play, and we are retesting this as support, and this is looking very bullish, and the support is holding very strong. So let's see if Bitcoin can create the next exponential leg up, because we are still in this big uptrend. After this consolidation, I think we will see this next spike to the top side. And let me know in the comments what you think about Bitcoin in the coming months, and what your price prediction is for Bitcoin in 2024. So the first interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is Dogecoin. I've been monitoring Dogecoin for quite a while now, and I've been saying that Dogecoin was in this falling channel, and at this horizontal support here on the lower side, I was been buying like crazy, because this is a very interesting accumulation zone for Doge, and I bought at these lows. And if we have a look on the chart, we can see we bounced from this huge support level on the lower side. We can see multiple touch points here in the past as support and resistance. So this horizontal support was a very interesting play for Dogecoin to make. So buying at these lows was a smart thing to do. And from these lows, you could have already potentially made an increase of 20% possibly. So let's see if this falling wedge to the downside finally breaks out for Dogecoin. We can see on the top side multiple touch points as resistance, and on the downside multiple touch points as support. But eventually we want to see a break to the top side, a retest of this previous resistance to turn it into support. From this support area at the retest we can enter the market in the long, and we can aim for higher prices. And eventually the breakout target for this formation will be confluent with the top side of the formation, because we can see here a lot of resistance coming into play. We can see multiple touch points here and price interactions for Dogecoin, and this will be around the 20 cents. So the breakout target of this breakout will be the 20 cents. And let's see if we can break out first, make a retest of the previous resistance to turn it into support, and from a potential breakout to the top side formation of 20 cents, we can possibly make an increase of 80%. So that is insane, of course. And of course we can also see maybe a little bit of a rejection from this resistance, come back to the support, and then we need to aim for lower targets again. But this formation is actually a bullish bias pattern, and we tend to break to the top side more often. So I think we will see a bullish break in the coming days. Another very interesting altcoin I want to have a look at is FetchAI. On my socials I've been talking about FetchAI as well, and I was saying that we are going to see a huge break soon. And this is a post from August 21, so almost a week ago. And I told you that we're in this huge consolidation pattern to the downside. This falling wedge formation would eventually break out. And also I've been buying at these lows, because in the past we can see here multiple touch points as resistance and support, and this would be a very interesting place to buy more FET. So I've been buying more FET at these stages, just like I was talking about on my socials, and from these lows I already made an interesting gain of 80%. And of course I also took a little bit of profits already, so this is looking very beautiful to see. And now I think after this breakout we could potentially maybe see a retest of this previous resistance to turn it into support, and from here you could also maybe enter in a long and aim for higher prices. And also here the top side of this formation will be confluent with the breakout target, and that will be around the $3.3. So there is still a long road for Fetch to reach the breakout target, and we're also seeing some horizontal levels coming into play, and these could also potentially maybe be some take profits levels. Yeah, the higher target on the top side will be around the top side of this formation, and that will be a very interesting gain to make. So this falling wedge formation was of course a bullish bias pattern, and we can see a beautiful break to the top side, and that is exactly what we wanted to see. Please leave a thumbs up if you liked the video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.